All right, well, let's dive in. Continuing on with our work with the sutras. Today's sutra is 1.9. And so just as a little bit of reminder of where we are, in the first sutra, we learn that yoga is the restraint of the modifications of the mind. And so what we're starting to do is understand how our mind works and how it gets modified. And one of the modifications, which is what 1.9 speaks to, is verbal delusion. Verbal delusion. What it specifically says is an image that arises on hearing mere words without any reality as its basis is verbal delusion. So we get images in our mind that may or may not be true based on words. And we worked a little bit in an earlier meditation around understanding how these verbal or these any delusions, modifications can be painful or painless. So I think what's interesting is to think about, sometimes it's easier to think outside of us, like how words affect us, where something can be said and it actually has an impact on our mind and our experience. And a couple of things that come to mind are just violent language, gossip, exaggeration. Right? So when somebody exaggerates something, it might not be painless, but it has an impact on our experience of it. When somebody says something that's harmful, we'll have an experience because of it, based on our perception of it. Swami Satchidananda uses a couple of examples of just things that aren't real, and how words can be said, but when you interpret them, you're like, well, is that really true? And the example he uses is, well, I'll use this one example because it took me a minute to get it. He uses this example of saying his mother was a barren woman. I guess if she's barren, she can't be a mother. Then I get into the chitta vritti of like, well, what if she adopted him? And, like there's all the little rabbit trails that we can go down on whether something is true or not. And I'm not really sure that that's what this is about, is like all the possible permutations, but really just getting clear on how words are affecting us and how we're using words to create a reality. Which puts us back really into like scientist researcher mode. Like, how are the words that I'm hearing affecting me? And how are the words that I'm using affecting others? So I'm going to invite us into a practice this morning, just really in that getting into the kind of observer mode around what we're experiencing. And the basic question as we practice will be, is it true? Which is kind of an important question in our culture these days. There's a lot of talk about fake news and, just information that's out there influencing us. And I think this question is valid both in that context, is it true? And also just in our own experience of the world, our own use of words, our own personal relationships. So any thoughts or questions before we begin the practice? Okay. Go ahead and create your posture so that you're comfortable enough for some relative stillness. Once you're situated, if your eyes are open, you can close them or lower them so that your attention is mostly inward. Feel your feet and whatever they're touching, whether they're in shoes or socks or just bare on the floor. And then notice your seat, your foundation. Check in with your posture. Bring an awareness to what's happening in your posture. Create it so that you're alert. Just start with your breath. So noticing the physical experience of your breath as it comes in. And as it exits. Connect into the truth of your breath, which is the physical, more than any judgment or feelings around the idea of the breath. And stay with the breath. Now bring your attention to a conversation you had yesterday. So you were speaking with at least one other person. Recall the situation where you were, who you were with. recall what was said. So there was some kind of dialogue. And get curious about your part in the conversation. Was there any exaggeration? Did you make somebody wrong? Did you offer an opinion as if it were the truth? Did you encourage somebody? Consider the impact of the words you chose. If there was anything that you said that might have caused some pain, try to give yourself some grace and release any judgment. It's like an exercise in awareness, not in shame or blame. Come on back to your breath. The feeling of the breath in your body. anchor back into the physical. Bring to your mind a situation yesterday or very recently where you were the listener, the receiver of the words. Maybe you were watching a show on television or at the theater, just on the receiving end of the words. Think of a specific thing that you heard. And how it impacted you. And this might be just one or two words that you recall, or it might be just a feeling, maybe after you finished watching the show. What were you left with? Painful? Painless? Draw your attention back to your breath. If your mind wanders away from your breath to an interaction, whether you're the listener or the speaker, is it true? What if the answer is, I don't know? Take a bigger, fuller breath. Do that again, a nice big breath. When you're ready, open your eyes. Thoughts? Insights? Robert?
So when I started thinking about this, I was thinking about some of the words that we use that society kind of has conditioned us to think a certain way, like fitness or beauty or any of those words, that as soon as we hear them, we attach something to them that probably doesn't belong. And that might fit into this sutra.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. Associations with our cultural conditioning. Yeah. Words are so powerful. And the things that come with them. And for me, part of this practice is learning to choose my words in a way that is intentional. And being aware of the impact that my words have. And this practice has really taught me a lot about that, to just like have that little bit of a pause and awareness around what I'm thinking and what I'm saying. Anybody else? Marcia.
Well, I would just add to be authentic to my words. Are they authentic with myself and with others? Something that I struggle with.
Yeah, realness is sometimes hard, but it's so lovely. when we're able to be that way with others. I guess in closing, I'll say this reminds me a little bit of in the Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. One of the Four Agreements is be impeccable with your word. I love the word impeccable. It's like just, there's something solid about that word. Be impeccable with your word. And I think this sutra also invites us to be impeccable with our listening. Is it real? And, it might even just be other people's opinions or things that they send out as truth. Like, not just taking it at face value, but like what's actually here. And it might be painful. The truth might be painful, but at least there's a little bit of a separation between what it is and what the impact is. Like, oh yeah. Because life isn't going to be painless, but if we have an awareness of kind of what's happening as it's happening, we have a better access to the tools like the breath that can stabilize us. Say, okay, I'm okay. All right. Marcia, you want to share one more thing? You're muted.
No, I'm just your words. I'm saying yes. It's just, yeah. I like that, impeccable too. Yeah.
All right. Well, my invitation for us today is to be impeccable with our words and our listening. All right. Well, I will see you soon. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Bye.